So, what exactly is effective teaching in a 21st century environment? I think first and foremost that we need to recognize that the people we're teaching are human beings and they have joy and they have passion and they have emotions, and that our teaching has to have some kind of special magic so that they want to come back, they want to be engaged, they want to be participating in learning. We just have to sort of remember that fundamentally we're teaching human beings. We also want to think about the technologies and manipulatives and diagrams and symbols and representation we're using to support our teaching. Like experimentation and learning how to use these things is great. We also got to pay attention to how they're actually landing with children. So, whenever we're teaching, we want to sort of consider formative assessment practices that are going to help us and guide children, right, collectively steer towards a common goal of everybody understanding in the ways that we hope they understand. Student centered learning is really about attending to what exactly are children learning, paying attention to that learning and keeping that as the center and focus of what you're working on. We want to remember that children aren't just empty vessels to be filled in. So we know from experience and from research that, if we teach a thing once, like we have a fractions unit one time in a year, children are very likely to forget that fractions unit. Learning is a lot more like building a fragile spider web. It needs many connections and it needs to be repeated many times in order for children to have a really robust understanding. Finally, there are some UDL strategies that I think every teacher should incorporate, regardless of what they're teaching. So, for example, if you want children who have attention deficit disorder, for example, to be able to understand, then and they're going to lose focus from time to time. And we all lose focus from time to time, but some children more so than others. So you want to use this strategy where you ask one child to restate what another child has said. It both gives a purpose for children listening to each other, and it offers an opportunity for repetition. So, there are a variety of other UDL strategies that we should just naturally incorporate into our teaching. There's a great comic I saw once of this janitor cleaning the steps from snow of this school. And there's a ramp beside the steps, and a child in a wheelchair says, "Hey, could you clean the ramp first?" And the janitor says, "I'm going to clean the steps first because that way everybody can get in. And then I'll go and clean the ramp so you can get in." And the child says, "Well, if you clean the ramp first, then everyone can get in because we can all use the ramp." And I think that's a really effective analogy for thinking about teaching and learning. What are the ramps that we can use in our teaching and learning so that all children have access to that learning? I think that's a really critical idea that needs to be incorporated into 21st century learning as we make sure that we're really attending to what children are thinking and what they're learning as we're teaching.